Why does anything exist at all? Not why this exists, not why we exist, but why there is something rather than nothing. This is not a religious question. It is one of the oldest questions in philosophy. The atheist philosopher Bertrand Russell once said that the universe is just there and that's all. But that is not an explanation. It is a refusal to explain. The moment we ask why anything exists, we admit that existence itself is not self-explanatory. The philosopher Gottfried Wilhelm Leibniz posed the question plainly. Why is there something rather than nothing? Well, Principles of Nature and Grace, paragraph 7. Leibniz argued that contingent things that could fail to exist, cannot explain themselves. They point beyond themselves. Everything we encounter in the universe is contingent. Stars burn out. Civilizations collapse. You and I did not have to exist, and one day we will not. So the question presses deeper. Why is there something instead of absolute nothingness? Thomas Aquinas argued that if everything were contingent, then at some point there would have been nothing. And from nothing, nothing comes. That which does not exist cannot begin to exist except through something already existing. This is not theology sneaking in, it is metaphysics. Even science cannot escape the question. Physics explains how the universe behaves, but not why there is a universe at all. Stephen Hawking acknowledged this tension when he asked, "Why does the universe go to all the bother of existing?" A brief history of time. That question still stands. If the universe exists necessarily, it must explain itself. If it exists contingently, it requires a cause beyond itself. Christian philosophy has historically argued that existence itself rests on a necessary being. Not one more thing inside the universe, but the ground of being itself. A being whose essence is existence. Aquinas called this ipsum esse subsistens, existence itself subsisting. And here the question quietly turns personal. If existence is not an accident, if reality is not brute fact, then meaning is not something we invent. It is something we encounter. C.S. Lewis once wrote, "I believe in Christianity as I believe that the sun has risen, not only because I see it, but because by it I see everything else." Is theology poetry? This series does not ask you to believe yet. It asks you to notice something harder to dismiss. Nothingness has no reason to produce something, and yet, here we are.